So my dog Luna figured out that this 4-inch gap between the two ends of the fence gate, or the gate rather, was wide enough for her to push one side. It has about an inch or two of play from its resting spot to outward, and she was able to snake her way through. And she just figured it out, and immediately, as soon as she figured out that exploit, she did it every day. So now I've gotten these posts, which are part of a chain link fence galvanized post set, and I'm now making some little extension pieces. There'll be one on each side here, and they'll just barely touch, which this one over here will go in next. These clamp pieces actually were curled quite a bit more, and I have a little bit of video that I'll put in right here. Metal posts to reinforce it. I was able to actually cut them with the handy dandy Sawzall style tool, the reciprocating saw, the little handheld one that DeWalt makes while I was out there. I bought all the hardware, but these little clamps that put together two pipes were made for a smaller pipe diameter. You can see it's a little bit smaller than that one, but they didn't make a bigger one. So I'm actually just taking these and putting them in my vise and flattening them out, and that actually makes them perfectly the right size for these. So I'm gonna clamp these together. They're gonna make the gap much smaller, but I also have some very high grade and epoxy coated magnets. They're in a case with styrofoam, and they're still holding onto that screw pretty good. These are crazy strong. They have like warning signs on them because they're really strong. But the goal is to get these so close that they won't connect to each other. Each one will connect to each side of the gate, and there'll be a little tiny gap in between the two, and that's where I'll either put magnets inside the poles if they're close enough in order to make that magnetic contact between the two, or just enough tension to make it a little bit less likely that the dogs will push on it. But making these parts that didn't exist was just a matter of taking the part that was close and putting it in this vise here and just squishing it down until it was flat. And that's how these got flattened out. So that's the making do with what's available project. And then these are the magnets that are going to be either inside these, which I haven't figured out exactly how I'll do it. I'll probably just stick them in the inside because they're really, really strong, which will make it so when these just barely touch, the tension between those magnets will hopefully be able to pull them in and keep them taut, so that at least there isn't as much ability for the fence pieces to wiggle. But I'll put the next step of it, which is completed, after this and see how it works. So this is it now with the two posts on there. They do line up. I just pushed them apart. And this is the two magnets together. Problem with these magnets is they have a recessed area for the screw to be flush, which is great, but the polarity of the magnet is one directional, and it's polarized vertically out of the face of it. So they stack this way. Meaning that I can't just spin one upside down and stick the faces of them together, which means I can't put one on this face and one on that face. So what I'll end up having to do is probably put two on one face like this, and then two on the opposing face. And you can see that they want to pull these two gates together pretty good because metal and magnets are best friends. So now it holds it really tight like that. So that will be the end product, just like that. But at least in the meantime, that'll stop the dogs from going through it. And then I'll work on some way to get just a little bit tighter with the magnets. And I'll adjust these just ever so slightly so they're exactly the same height. Because they're not exact, but they're close. But yeah, the fortification of the farm to prevent dogs from running away. That's the story of the Basenji. Just used the button in my truck to open the fence to see if it could push through the weight of the magnet's tension, and it was able to. Now let's see if they re-snap together, and look at that, they do. Pow. So that looks like it will work. I just have to mount the magnets onto one or both sides, and that'll be it. Now the true test. Can I defeat Luna? Seems like I won the battle. I defeated the terrorist. Is it true, Luna?